All right, y'all, so we back to check out some ancient technology that scientists are struggling to explain. Let's check it out.
Science, for the most part, can explain most things in the universe, but there have been several discoveries that puzzle even the most capable scientists in history. From a bizarre Roman artifact to a hidden chamber in the Egyptian pyramid, here are 20 old technologies scientists still can't explain. Number 20. Roman Dodecahedron. If you were to look at this artifact, what would you think its purpose is? If you ask archaeologists, they would say it's a toy, a piece of measuring equipment, decor, or just a random trinket. This is the Roman dodecahedron, and we remain confused about it to this day. These small hollow objects, often made of bronze, are shaped as regular dodecahedra, featuring 12 flat pentagonal faces. Each face is adorned with a circular hole of varying diameter, and the overall object is quite intricate, with knobs protruding from each vertex. First discovered in England in 1739, over 100 of these objects have been unearthed across Europe, predominantly dating from AD 100 through the 400s. Despite their widespread discovery and apparent age, their true purpose remains a mystery. One idea suggests that they might have been religious artifacts, or even fortune-telling devices, mainly due to their predominance in Gallo-Roman sites. Another speculation is that they could have been objects to test the skills of a metalsmith, serving as a portfolio piece, or as a qualification for guild status. This is partly due to the skill required to craft such objects and the historical cost of bronze. Other hypotheses include their use as astronomical measuring instruments, particularly for agriculture, although this is debated due to the lack of standardization in their sizes and arrangements. Some have even suggested they might have been used as a sort of knitting tool, given their holes and knots, which could feasibly thread yarns into gloves. This theory gained traction with modern recreations of these objects being used effectively for knitting. Despite these numerous theories, including possibilities of them being toys, candle holders, or purely decorative items, there's no conclusive evidence to affirm any single purpose. So, any theories? Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now. Number 19. Hidden Chamber in the Pyramid. It's been almost 4,600 years since the pyramids were created, and yet, to this day, we continue to be fascinated by these structures. Recently, we've discovered the most intriguing secret of the pyramid so far, a hidden chamber. In 2017, a team of archaeologists employed high-tech instruments like cosmic ray muon radiography, infrared thermography, and 3D simulations to probe the pyramid's interiors. The advanced tech used led to the identification of a sealed-off corridor located above the main entrance of the Pyramid of Khufu, also known as the Great Pyramid. The corridor measured a staggering 30 feet long, making it more mysterious. Some experts think it could have been designed to redistribute the weight of the pyramid. Quite a smart move considering the massive size of this ancient structure. However, the real purpose is still a topic of debate. What's more, this isn't really the first mysterious void we've seen inside an Egyptian pyramid. And yet, despite these discoveries, the pyramid continues to hold many secrets. Its complex network of chambers and passageways, some of which are located high above ground level, has yet to be fully understood. Could this be a chamber hiding an artifact that holds all the answers to our questions about Egyptian civilization? Or a void that hides something we can't comprehend just yet? Well, this is why the ancient Egyptians remain one of the most fascinating civilizations in the history of mankind. It seems that they have an endless trove of secrets. Number 18. The Sunstone. Vikings are known for their voyages and their greatness in the open sea. But have you ever wondered how they managed to do so? Well, the answer might lie in what's known as the Viking Sunstone. However, this fact is debatable to this day, just like much of the information we know about the Vikings. The Sunstone is said to be a magical crystal that can find the sun's position even on cloudy days or when the sun is below the horizon. The problem is that no one has actually found a real...
I needed that to look at the eclipse through. Imagine looking at the eclipse through that.
Viking Sunstone. Yet, a theory suggests they might have used Iceland spar, a type of crystal known for its ability to filter and analyze polarized light. Researchers have conducted experiments with these crystals, and they've shown that it's indeed possible to determine the sun's position with a fair degree of accuracy. This supports the idea that the Vikings could have used something similar for their voyages. However, not everyone is convinced. Some skeptics point out that there's no concrete historical or archaeological evidence for the Sunstone's existence. They argue that the Vikings had other navigation methods, like dead reckoning and celestial navigation, which might have been more reliable. But regardless of whether the Viking Sunstone was real or just a legend, this artifact remains one of the most mysterious technologies of the ancient world, especially considering no actual piece of it has been discovered yet. Number 17. The Vastos Disc. Discovered over a century ago on the island of Crete, this small, round clay disc has puzzled historians and linguists ever since. This disc, about 15 centimeters in diameter, was found in a Minoan palace and dates back to around 1700 BC. It's etched with 241 symbols, comprising 45 unique signs. What's bizarre is that we don't quite know how people back then accurately stamped the disc. You see, unlike other artifacts of the time, the symbols on the disc weren't hand-drawn, but rather an example of early printing technology. What's more, the symbols are yet
See, now, that's something I just learned. Well, a lot of stuff I'm just learning, but I've always seen certain like this placed on something like that, or maybe a big rock or stone or something. And I always thought that was hand done, not thinking they had something to kind of stamp it on there like that.
to be deciphered. Many have tried to decode it. Some experts believe it's a religious text linked to the goddess Astarte. Yet despite these efforts, the disc's language remains a mystery. It does bear some resemblance to Linear A and Linear B, but is still distinct and undeciphered. What could it be? A coded message? A calendar? A religious text? Until we decode the symbols, we're yet to know. And so, the Vastos Disc continues to be a topic of fascination in archaeology and linguistics. The disc is currently displayed at the Archaeological Museum in Heraklion, Crete. Many continue to attempt to decipher the disc with no success. So
what if that was something to do with like trade? You know, some way to keep track of, okay, if you give me this, this is the equivalent of this, and this is what I need to give you back. And it was a way for them to keep track of that.
If you're into codes and puzzles, why not try your luck with a Vastos Disc? Who knows? You just might have what it takes to put this long-running mystery to an end. Number 16. Ageless Sword of Gan. In 1965, archaeologists unearthed this extraordinary sword in a tomb in Hubei, China. Imagine their surprise when they found a sword in almost perfect condition, despite being buried for over 2 millennia, known as the Sword of Gan. You see, this sword is made mainly of copper, which makes it flexible, while the edges contain more tin, keeping them sharp. This sophisticated combination of metals, along with sulfur, helped the sword resist rust and tarnish. It's a marvel of ancient metallurgy. It was made at a time when such a thing wouldn't even seem possible. The sword is also beautifully decorated with blue crystals and turquoise, and the hilt is wrapped in silk. These royal adornments suggest it was crafted for someone very important. And who might that be? The inscription on the sword, written in an ancient script known as Birdworm Seal script, reveal it was made for the personal use of the king of Yue, most likely King Gaojian, a famous figure from Chinese history. Unfortunately, no matter how ageless this sword is, it suffered from human error. Like most things, in 1994, while on location for an exhibition in Singapore, it had a minor crack, which led to a ban on its travel outside of its home country to preserve it properly. Number 15. Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines, located in southern Peru, are one of the most intriguing archaeological mysteries of our time.
Facts.
Spread over an area of nearly 190 square miles, these lines form over 800 straight paths, 300 geometric figures, and more than 70 designs of animals and plants. The most astonishing part? They were created between 100 BC and AD 700 by the Nazca culture. Imagine the effort it took to remove the top layer of rock in the desert, revealing the lighter sand below to create these enormous, intricate designs. But why did the ancient Nazca people create these lines? Well, that's where the mystery lies. Initially, researchers thought these lines might have had astronomical or calendrical purposes. However, more recent theories suggest they could have been part of rituals to request rain from the gods, or used as routes for religious processions. Yet, the true purpose of these lines remains a mystery. Some believe that extraterrestrials actually created these lines. However, others believe that they're simply a sign of a past civilization's brilliance. Number 14. The Baghdad Battery. Discovered near Baghdad, Iraq, this small clay jar, not more than 5 inches tall, has been puzzling experts since its unearthing. Dating back to the Parthian period, roughly between 250 BCE and 224 AD, this ancient artifact is more than just a piece of pottery. It's a potential glimpse into advanced ancient technology that could rewrite history. After all, who would even think that this small thing is a battery? A battery from millennia ago. Inside this modest jar lies a copper cylinder and an iron rod. Now, if you were to fill this jar with an acidic or
How did they come up with that, though? How? How do you go from fire to that?
alkaline substance, it could, theoretically, produce an electric charge. That's right, we're talking about the possibility of an electric battery that predates our modern version by centuries. However, many skeptics cast doubt on the authenticity of this artifact. While some scholars and enthusiasts argue this could be evidence of ancient electrical knowledge, others have a more grounded take. They suggest it might have been nothing more than a storage vessel for sacred scrolls. And it's a fair point, especially since no wires or other electrical components were found alongside these jars. Whether it was a primitive battery or simply a storage jar, we're yet to know. Were the ancients truly experimenting with concepts of electricity long before we thought it was possible? Number 13. Ancient Earthquake Detector. If you're a history buff, you might recognize this artifact, Zhang Heng's seismoscope. Around 132 AD, brilliant Chinese mathematician Zhang Heng introduced this device way ahead of its time.
And what's crazy is this thing here might still be useful to this day. Probably accurate, just as accurate as some of the tools and things that we use today.
Might look like an intricate centerpiece, but this is among the earliest and most brilliant seismic devices. This seismoscope was a large cast bronze vessel and had 8 dragons perched on top, each clutching a bronze ball in their mouth. Directly beneath these dragons were 8 bronze toads, all set to catch the balls. Now, the theory is that an internal mechanism would cause a dragon to drop its ball into a toad's mouth during an earthquake. This not only signaled an earthquake, but also indicated its direction of origin. Years later, this mighty invention proved its worth. One day, a ball dropped without any noticeable tremors in the capital. Skeptics thought that Zhang Heng's invention didn't measure anything, but a messenger from a distant region later confirmed an earthquake had indeed occurred at the same time the ball dropped. Even the brilliant minds of ancient scholars were perplexed, and to this day, modern historians grapple with the mystery of this invention. How did Zhang Heng measure this precisely when modern tools weren't available? In 2005, scientists recreated Zhang Heng's seismoscope and used it to detect simulated earthquakes. The results were quite spot on, matching the data from modern seismometers. But
another example of how ahead of their time they were. Prime example here.
Did Zhang Heng figure it all out? We still don't know. Number 12. The Bong Pipes. Nestled in a remote part of Qinghai province in China, near the town of Delingha, are mysterious pipe-like formations that have left scientists puzzled. These pipes first caught the world's attention back in 1996. Bai Yu, reported to be either a Chinese writer or an archaeologist, was exploring the Chaidam Basin when he stumbled upon an unusual sight on Mount Baigong, a cave with what seemed to be a triangular entrance near Tosan Lake. In this cave were pipe-like structures. Some rose from the floor, while others were embedded in the walls. Yet more can be seen on the hill's surface and along the lake shores. Naturally, some believe the entire structure was an extraterrestrial settlement with a pipe system. When samples of these mysterious pipes were analyzed, they contained common minerals like ferric oxide, silicon dioxide, and calcium oxide. However, a puzzling 8% of the material couldn't be identified. Further testing indicated that these structures were ancient, predating human settlement in the area. This small unknown percentage perpetuated the theory that the pipes were indeed alien of origin. However, some suggest that the pipes were simply the result of geological uplift in flooding-filled fissures in the rock with iron-rich sediments. This theory aligns well with the known geological history of the area. But to this day, some continue to insist that suggested extraterrestrial involvement, primarily due to the pipe's mysterious origins and the lack of a conclusive scientific explanation. Number 11. Stone Spheres of Costa Rica. Nestled in the Diquis Delta of southern Costa Rica are over 300 spheres. Their origins, dating between 800 AD and 1500 AD, are shrouded in mystery. Imagine coming across a perfectly round stone sphere, varying in size from just a few centimeters to over 2 meters in diameter, while clearing land for banana plantations. That's exactly what happened in the 1930s, when workers from the United Fruit Company stumbled upon these fascinating objects. The spheres are made from granodiorite, an igneous rock similar to granite. It's believed they were shaped and polished by hand, using techniques like controlled fracturing and smoothing with sand. So what were these spheres for? That's the thing. We have yet to discover the purpose. Some suggest they might have been used for astronomical observations or as compasses. Others speculate they could represent the solar system or have had religious or ceremonial significance. One of the most popular theories is that they mark the properties of tribal chiefs, symbolizing status or power. Number 10. The mysterious Greek fire. Imagine a weapon so powerful and mysterious that it played a pivotal role in safeguarding an entire empire. This has been the role of Greek fire, arguably the most legendary incendiary weapon from the Byzantine Empire. Unfortunately, its secrets are lost in the sands of time. This extraordinary substance, used from the 7th to the 12th centuries, was capable of burning even on water and was a game-changer in naval warfare. Greek fire's exact composition remains one of history's enduring mysteries. Historians and scholars have speculated that it could have been a concoction of substances like pine resin, naphtha, quicklime, and sulfur. However, the true formula was so close.
The only time I've seen fire burn on water has been in like oil spills or something like that. So I would think maybe they found oil or some kind of way or something similar to use. It's the only thought I could think of.
And scholars have speculated that it could have been a concoction of substances like pine resin, naphtha, quicklime, and sulfur. However, the true formula was so closely guarded that it was known only to a select few within the Byzantine Empire, and it was never documented for future generations.
Methane, too. Methane.
Callinicus of Heliopolis, a Greek-speaking Jewish refugee, is often credited with its invention. His goal? To create a defensive weapon to protect the Byzantine Empire from Arab invasions. And indeed, Greek fire played a crucial role in repelling sieges, notably during the Arab attempts to capture Constantinople. Aside from the physical destruction, Greek fire unintentionally caused psychological distress to its opponents. It struck terror into enemies' hearts with its relentless burning grip on ships and its unstoppable nature. Byzantine forces deployed it using specialized tubes on ships, as well as in the form of handheld flamethrowers and grenades for ground assaults. The loss of the Greek fire's recipe remains a significant historical mystery. Attempts to recreate it based on speculated compositions have never been successful. Its disappearance marks not just the loss of a powerful weapon, but perhaps it's for the better, don't you think? After all, we've no use for a destructive weapon in peaceful times. Number 9.
Yeah, right.
The Yonaguni Monument. Discovered in 1986 off the coast of Yonaguni-jima, Japan, by Kihachiro Aratake, this Yonaguni Monument is a massive underwater rock formation, spanning more than 165 feet long and some 65 feet wide. Its controversy centers around whether this structure is a natural geological formation or the remnants of an ancient man-made civilization. Masaki Kimura, a marine geologist, spent over 15 years studying the site and argues in favor of it being man-made. He points to specific features such as tool marks, retaining walls, roads, drainage canals, stairways, and even carved monuments resembling turtles as evidence of human crafting. Kimura initially believed the site to be over 10,000 years old, but later revised this estimate to 2,000 to 3,000 years, suggesting it could be part of the lost continent of Mu. In stark contrast, skeptics led by geologist Robert Schuch argue that the Yonaguni Monument's features can be explained by natural geological processes. They note that the sandstones forming the structure contain well-defined parallel bedding planes and vertical joints, which could naturally create such formations. Furthermore, similar formations can be found on the northeast coast of Yonaguni, supporting the natural formation theory. This site has become a popular attraction for divers, drawing people from around the world to explore its mysteries, and the debate about it continues. Number 8. The Iron Pillar of Delhi. Nestled in the heart of Delhi, within the Qutb complex, stands a remarkable artifact of ancient Indian craftsmanship, the Iron Pillar of Delhi. This 23.7-foot tall 6-ton column not only showcases the exceptional skill of Indian metalworkers, but also holds a fascinating mystery. It's resisted corrosion for over 1,600 years. The pillar's story began around 400 AD, when it was set up by Kumaragupta I in honor of his father. Its impressive size and weight show the advanced metallurgical techniques of the time. In 2003, metallurgists from the Indian Institute of Technology attempted to solve the mystery behind the rust-resistant nature of the iron pillar. They found that the pillar's composition, made of 98% wrought iron, is protected by a thin layer of mesowite, a mix of iron, oxygen, and hydrogen, which prevents corrosion. Despite its historical importance, there are still some unanswered questions about the pillar. Its original location, for instance, and how it ended up in Delhi remains debated among historians. Number 7.
Yeah, that looks like that's going to be around forever. I don't think that'll ever deteriorate, fall over, no. I don't even think they could tear it down if they wanted to, and shouldn't. They'd probably release some type of curse or something, spirit or something surrounding that, man. But I just the way they designed that thing, man, you could just tell it'll be around long after we're gone.
The Mouth of Truth. The Mouth of Truth is an iconic marble mask in Rome with mysterious origins and a legendary story. Located at the entrance of the Church of Santa Maria in Cosmedin, this ancient image carved in Pavanazzo marble portrays quite an eerie, grimacing face. The most famous legend surrounding the Mouth of Truth dates back to the Middle Ages. It was initially placed at a location for taking oaths and making vows. Historical accounts from the 15th century describe the 1,300-kilo Phrygian marble face as having a magical ability to identify liars. Specifically, it was believed to detect deceit, especially in cases involving unfaithful wives, by biting off the limb of the perjurer.
I was just thinking that. That's crazy that you said unfaithful wife. I could see wives or husbands taking their significant other there to find out, see if she's been faithful or he's been faithful, bro. Listen, I'm glad y'all on this video. If they try to take y'all there, don't go, especially if you know you're doing something wrong. Just don't go.
When inserted into the mask's mouth.
Yo!
One popular tale involves a noblewoman accused of adultery. To prove her innocence, she was subjected to the test of the Mouth of Truth. However, she cleverly orchestrated a scenario where a man, believed to be a fool, but actually her lover, embraced her just before the test. Thus, when she swore that she had only been held by her husband and the fool, she technically did not lie, and her hand was spared. While it remains uncertain whether the typically skeptical inhabitants of early modern Rome truly believed in the tale, the legend persisted. The mysterious anthropomorphic face, later known as the Bocca della Verita, is believed to depict the sea god Oceanus, identified by the distinctive crab-like pincer horns. Historians...
This needs to go viral. I need to do a short on this, man, just so people can see this. I want to know how many people would travel to this.
Have various theories about the original purpose of this artifact. Some think it could have been part of a fountain, a ceremonial well cover, or even a drain cover at the nearby temple of Hercules Victor. Another theory suggests it might have been used for draining cattle blood in ceremonial sacrifices to Hercules. However, the exact purpose and the identity of the figure represented remain a subject of speculation. Number 6. Mystery of the Egyptian Blue. You're looking at Egyptian blue. This is no ordinary color. This is the most mysterious hue in the world. This ancient pigment is known to be one of the first synthetic colors ever created and dates back to around 2600 BC in ancient Egypt. The creation of Egyptian blue was a remarkable achievement, considering the complexity of its manufacturing process. It involved heating a mixture of quartz sand, a copper compound, calcium carbonate, and a small amount of alkali to temperatures between 800 and 1000 degrees Celsius. And yet, despite how important this hue is, its recipe was never documented in ancient Egyptian texts, at least the ones that we found so far. It only reappeared in Roman literature by Vitruvius in the 1st century BC, giving us a glimpse into its intricate production. But why is Egyptian blue so special? Its stability and resistance to fading made it a favorite among ancient artists. Used in everything from tomb decorations to statues, its usage spread across the ancient world until around the 4th century AD, after which the knowledge of its creation was lost. Recently, however, Researchers have discovered that when illuminated with red light, this pigment emits near-infrared radiation, making it detectable even when not visible to the naked eye. This property opens up exciting possibilities for its use in modern technology, from biomedical imaging to security inks. Number 5. Stonehenge. Stonehenge, the iconic prehistoric monument located in Wiltshire, England, continues to be a source of mystery and fascination. Despite extensive research and numerous theories, the true purpose and origins of this ancient structure remain largely unknown. The construction of Stonehenge is believed to have taken place in several phases, beginning around 5,000 years ago with an early henge monument, followed by the famous stone circle constructed around 2500 BC during the late Neolithic period. The monument consists of a ring of standing stones, each around 13 feet high, 7 feet wide, and weighing approximately 25 tons. Various theories have been proposed regarding the purpose of Stonehenge. Some believe it was a sacred site used for religious ceremonies, while others suggest it was a burial ground or a place of healing. Another popular theory is that it served as an astronomical observatory, particularly given its alignment with the solstices. The healing theory is supported by the fact that burials around Stonehenge show evidence of trauma and deformity, suggesting it may have been a place of pilgrimage for the sick and injured of the Neolithic world. Despite all the research and theories, many questions about Stonehenge remain unanswered. Number 4. Damascus Steel. Damascus Steel, renowned for its distinct patterns and legendary strength, remains one of the great mysteries of metallurgy. This steel was primarily used in the Near East for forging sword blades, originating from Wootz steel ingots. These ingots were imported from southern India, or produced in centers like Sri Lanka or Khorasan, Iran. The uniqueness of Damascus steel lies in its manufacturing process. It involved a carburization method where wrought iron was heated with various carbonaceous materials in closed vessels. This process created an iron-carbon alloy containing up to 1.8% carbon. The steel was characterized by its exceptional hardness and a watered, streaked appearance due to the varying carbon levels in the original material. The forging of Damascus steel involved repeatedly welding, folding, and hammering the steel.
And then a lot of times, I don't know, I watched them make a sword one time and they fold it. Like when they're at this stage of it, they'll fold it back on top of each other. And man, that just makes it that more. Oh, no wonder why you see these jokers can cut through a lot of different things the way they do. Like this whole process is extensive, man. And they're very meticulous in how they go about creating it. It's definitely, if you watch it, bro, you'll be glued to the TV, I promise you.
Which led to the intertwining of different layers of steel. This process resulted in the creation of complex and distinctive patterns on the blades. The quality of a Damascus blade was often judged by its watering pattern, indicative of the steel's quality. Despite its fame and extensive use in weapons from the 3rd to the 17th century, the exact techniques and processes used to create Damascus steel were gradually lost. Modern attempts don't yield the same quality steel, however, and so many continue to try and properly recreate the steel to no avail. Number 3. The Torquetum. This is the Torquetum. This intricate object is supposed to be a medieval astronomical instrument, one of the most intriguing of them all. This device was first mentioned by the ancient Greek scientist Ptolemy. It's thought to have been first constructed in the 12th or 13th century, making it a tool that was ahead of its time. After all, it's a tool that could measure and convert astronomical coordinates without any calculations. It worked with 3 sets of coordinates: horizon, equatorial, and ecliptic, and was a precursor to the more complex instruments we use today. The fact that this device could interconvert these coordinates seamlessly is nothing short of remarkable. The device made a cameo in Hans Holbein the Younger's painting The Ambassadors from 1533, showing its significance and prestige. However, the most detailed account of the Torquetum comes from Peter Apian, a German expert in astronomy and mathematics. In his 1540 book, Astronomica Caesarium, Apian described the Torquetum in great detail, showing its importance in astronomical observations before the invention of the telescope. The structure of the Torquetum is a bit of a head-scratcher, with its various components like the base, mid-frame, and upper frame, each serving a unique purpose. These parts worked in harmony to measure the positions of celestial objects, which was a big deal back then. And yet, despite its significance, much about the Torquetum remains shrouded in mystery. Very few of these instruments have survived, making them among the most mysterious artifacts. Number 2. Adjustable lighting lanterns. Archaeologists in Nanchang, China unearthed something extraordinary. Bronze lamps dating back to the Han Dynasty, around 206 BC to 24 AD. What's bizarre, however, is that these lamps may be the earliest eco-friendly designs in the history of mankind. You see, these lamps, shaped like geese holding fish in their mouths, had a unique feature where water was used to absorb the smoke from the burning wax. This means
they were good. They were good, bro. Who would even think of that? And then just to add the extra flair onto it, to design it like a geese or duck or whatever he said it was, with a fish in its mouth. And then also the intricate detail of being able to absorb the smoke. Like, yeah, they were good. They were really good.
You see, these lamps, shaped like geese holding fish in their mouths, had a unique feature where water was used to absorb the smoke from the burning wax. This means they were essentially smokeless, a significant achievement for that time. The fish in the goose's mouth wasn't just for show. It functioned as a funnel and a windshield, and it was even adjustable to control the brightness of the light. These lamps were found in the Haihun Ho Cemetery, believed to be the most complete Western Han Dynasty cemetery ever discovered. Made of solid bronze, they reflect the highly technical skill and wealth of their owner. And now it's time for today's topic. Scientists still can't explain this ancient technology. If you look at this photo, you would guess that this was a creation in the 1800s. However, those who found this tool claimed that it was unearthed in an old grave that dates back to ancient times, over 1,000.
Like a safe. Like if you turn these knobs or something, it'll pop open or something, and then you can place stuff inside of it, keep it secure maybe? I don't know. It looked like a safe to me.
1,000 years ago. But how would that be possible? To this day, we still don't know the purpose of this artifact. All we know is that it has some complicated contraptions and mechanisms that seem too impossible for its time. Could this be just a misplaced or misdated artifact? Or could this really be a sign that there were people far too advanced in ancient times? Number 1. The Sakara Bird. Found in the tomb of Padi Amun in Sakara around 1891, this little wooden figure, dating back to 200 BC, has sparked a whirlwind of theories and speculations. At first glance, the Sakara bird might just look like a simple wooden carving of a bird. It's made from sycamore wood and was originally painted to resemble a falcon, but it's the bird's tail that really catches the eye. It's vertical, much like the tails on modern airplanes. This unusual feature has led some to wonder, could the ancient Egyptians have known about aerodynamics? Experts highly doubt it, but we continue to speculate.